And welcome to video number 1, which is the introduction to online security. And just want to say congratulations on taking the first step to grab this video course so that you can learn how to protect your online identity. Now, of course, before we get started, I do have to say a legal disclaimer. Everything in this course are recommendations. We are not liable for any actions that you take. Now that we're done with that, let's move on. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is just to give you a quick video's overview so you know exactly what to expect and you can fit all the pieces of the puzzle together, and when we begin to talk about it, you'll be able to implement all of this faster and easier. So video number 1 is, of course, this video. Video number 2, I'm going to talk about Online Protection 101. We're going to talk about, how to protect yourself in the overall general view, and how your children can protect themselves, how you can protect your credit cards, and things like that. And then video number 3, we're going to talk about antivirus software as well as firewall software. Now, a lot of people get confused that they think these two are the same thing. They're actually different. And of course, while some of antivirus software has a built-in firewall, we're actually talking about it in a different context. And it'll make a lot more sense when I actually show it to you. Video number 4 is going to be spyware and malware. A lot of people confuse antivirus and spyware as well. And a lot of companies will actually bundle these together. But what you need to look for is, spyware companies that focus on spyware and virus companies that focus on viruses. So I'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then we'll dive into passwords. Now, while this makes a lot of common sense, a lot of people tend to forget about the basics of passwords, like creating different passwords, creating a spreadsheet of tracking your passwords. And there's actually a specific method that I use to track my passwords so that if anything like the Heartbleed bug were to come up again, you're not spending a whole day trying to figure out how to change your passwords. You're going to be able to do this super fast. And this way you're going to be prepared in the long run if this happens again. And that brings us to video number 6, which is going to be browser password breach. Unfortunately, not a lot of people know this, but if you save your password within your browser itself, for example, like Google Chrome, I can actually, let's say I actually come to your computer and I got to use your computer, or you're doing it on a public computer, somebody can actually access your passwords. So I'm going to show you how that happens, and of course, how to protect yourself in video number 7. And video number 8, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself when you are surfing online. So I'm going to talk about things that you might run into and things to be aware of so that you're aware of that and you can be safe and protect yourself. And then we'll talk about how to spot phishing scams. There's a lot of phishing scams going on. It's been going on for a long time, and they're constantly coming in many different forms. So I'm going to show you different ways to detect them so that when you see them, you are not scared at all, because they'll use fear tactics and scare tactics to get you to fill in your username and password, provide your information, and so forth. And of course, video number 10, we're going to talk about what to do when your identity has been taken. So here's the reality. The reality is that there are just as many crooks online as there are offline. Except with offline, it's kind of in your face. So a lot of times you see it and you're aware of offline crooks and robberies, physical, robberies, gunshots, people robbing your house, your business, and things like that. So it's a lot more apparent. And then online, most of the scams and the things that happen online are more unknown and behind the scenes. So they happen to be on your computer, like spyware or viruses in those types of forms. Like the Heartbleed bug, for example. If you were not aware of that, you wouldn't have never known about that, and you would have simply gone about your ways. But think about it, for the past 2 years, and the NSA just revealed this, but for the past 2 years, since 2014, hackers have been going under the nose of these websites and stealing information. And it's just to that point that they figured it out. So think about that. That's scary. But at the same time, there are things that you can take control of. You can monitor your credit cards. You can monitor your things that are around you, just to ensure that nothing suspicious happens. There's no 100% guarantee, but this is definitely closer to protecting yourself than not doing anything at all. And just keep in mind, not everything is a scam, so don't freak out. Don't think that everything that you see is going to be a scam. Just be aware so that you can be safe. Better be safe than sorry. So basically here is how it all works. You want to figure out where you stand right now, and you want to figure out where you want to be. So obviously everybody is going to be different. Some of you might already have systems in place to protect yourself. Some of you may not. So just figure out where you stand right now in terms of security and where you want to be. And then as you watch the video course, you'll learn a lot of stuff on how to apply that to where you stand now. Now keep in mind, in terms of security softwares, that not all security softwares are the same. Actually, some are actually disguised as security softwares by hackers. So you kind of want to stick with the mainstream softwares, but I'll actually show you some softwares that are reputable, and even the ones that I use myself. You want to educate yourself and your family through this course, especially your kids who are surfing the web, because certain sites that they visit can actually bring in spyware and other viruses without them knowing it. And keep an eye out for your updates on the web in terms of what's been happening on the news and things like that. I don't recommend that you sit there all day and just read, but you can go about your life, but just keep in mind that you want to keep an eye out on what is happening out in the world. And I guarantee you that you'll be definitely many steps ahead of everybody else, and less of a target. So things you need, you're going to need some money to invest into security software. I am going to show you some free softwares that you can use that are powerful and are still the leading companies in the industry. But for some of them, you might need to upgrade to the pro version, and it is worthwhile, in my opinion, to secure your site and secure your computers. You're going to have proper knowledge that I'm going to teach you, and you're going to need to learn it, but you're also mainly going to need to apply it. Otherwise, everything that I teach you is going to be meaningless under the sun. So with that said, let's jump right in, and I'll move on to video number 2. And I am going to show you a step-by-step plan, exactly what to do, and things to be aware of in terms of Online Protection 101. So let's get started.